Hey guys, so here's our solar explanation, or what we have for solar for our grid tied system. Behind me, I have 435 watt panels. There's 24 of them. There's some Pro E20s, and they are wired in series and in parallel. And let me explain what that means. So whenever you wire them in series, it's kind of like you put batteries in a flashlight. Whenever you put batteries in a flashlight, you put them in with the nipple side or the positive side down, and then you follow it again, and then the negative and the positive touch. What that does is it increases the voltage, okay? So that's part of how we have these set up. Whenever you attach them in parallel, that's basically your two positives are wired together and your two negatives are wired together, just making a bigger battery, if you will, or bigger solar panel. And that's what we have. So we have 24. These are wired in 4 in series. Okay, so these 4 right here are wired in series. So the positive of this one connects to the negative of this one, and then the positive of this one connects to the negative of this one, so on and so forth. That makes one set, or one series, if you will. Then the next 4 directly above it are wired the exact same. Then the 2 positives are put together, and then the 2 negatives from each group are put together to create all 8 of those into one set. So that is 4 in series and 2 in parallel. And that creates the voltage that we need for our inverter to actually work properly. So we will show you our inverter here in just a moment and how it's wired up so that you can see that. So if you look at our solar array system from underneath, here is where the negative comes out of this one. And then that's the positive going to the negative. So these are wired in series. Now, up here, you can see where we've taken the 2 negatives and we've placed them together, and we have a negative wire running out of it. And this is my black line with a white tracer. That's going to become important later. You really need to know where your wires are. Also, I have my positive line, which is red, with a white tracer. So what that means is this is my white set of panels. I also have a blue set of panels and a red set of panels. For 24, 8 in each one, so that's 8 times 3 is 24. So I just went patriotic, went red, white, and blue. So I'll show you where they come. Well, let me give you a quick rundown real fast. You see here, I got service loops. Then the wires come all the way down here. Then they come to a mess here where we can disconnect. Okay. Then, of course, they go underground. And then they're going to pop up inside the well house. And let me show you that here in just a moment. All right, guys, I don't know why I said I would show you where they come out. Obviously, I can't. I already have the walls up. But it does come out in this wall here. Comes up to the top and then over across. Once it comes over and across, it comes out to this piece right here underneath. Okay, essentially all this was just a panel or a double gang box that I put in the wall, and all of my solar panel cables are coming out right here. And then this is my electrical line that is going back to my panel. I'll show you the panel in a moment. And here I have my positive red, my positive white, and then my positive blue. Next to that, well, I have an empty space. I could have another array or another string for this inverter, but then I have my negative red, negative white, and negative blue. Now, of course, there's a cover that covers this. And then here I have my electrical line that goes negative, neutral, and positive. And of course, I have a copper ground. So very important that you get your wiring right whenever it comes to your inverter. Cannot say that enough. You can mess up your inverter. Most of them do have voltage protection and things like that, but I have my solar panels set up to where they are operating on approximately 300 volts. The nominal voltage for this inverter, according to the manual, can go up to 600 volts. So I decided to go ahead and put mine at 300 volts, and this one will run, I believe it is 11.4 kilowatts. So, long story short, we're trying to keep this in that range of the 11.4 kilowatts, and we're also trying to keep it on 4 strings. In the electrical panel right here, notice I do have to have it labeled dual power supply, utility grid, and PV solar electric. And of course, you also need to have your photovoltaic breaker labeled as well. So that way, if anything happens, everybody knows where to shut off the power at so that you don't electrocute a lineman working on the electrical lines, basically. So this is a very simplified overview of our grid tie system, but this is something that will get you started in the right direction, I hope, if you're looking at possibly going grid tied. One of the things that I would recommend is that you really need to pay attention to how much your electric bill is. Not just your bill, but how much your usage is, your wattage usage. And that is something that will determine how big your solar system needs to be. So this right here is my DC disconnect that is required. And essentially what that is it's an emergency stop in case there's a fire or firemen come out or anybody who comes out who needs to work with the electrical has an issue. They literally just press this, and I'll show you. So you press it just like that, and then once it's stopped, I'm receiving no power, no DC power from my solar panels into my inverter. So obviously with no DC power, it can't convert it to AC power and then pump it back up the line and hurt anybody. And it's just give it a twist and it pops right back out. But this is our DC disconnect. Now it'll take my inverter 5 minutes before it actually starts pumping power to the grid again, but that's okay. Let me show you other things that we have to do in order to have them, to have it legal to have this grid tied system. Obviously, signage is very important, which is why we have the solar PV system equipped with rapid shutdown. So you have to have signage on your electrical connection as well. And then we also actually have to have a disconnect so that we can completely shut off all power from the solar system. And I'll show you where that is over here. We had to put that on the back side of our meter box. So, and this one was not necessary to have multiple sources of power. However, I had an extra sticker. I figured why not have some fun. And then this sticker is required though, the dual power supply, so utility grid and PV solar. And essentially all this is, it's just like your air conditioner disconnect. So if you needed to disconnect it, you literally just pull it out. So that will stop all AC and DC electricity. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I have an air conditioner running, and I'll go ahead and pull that for you. As you can hear, hopefully, it actually stopped the air conditioning system because all of the power inside the well house has stopped. Let me go ahead and put it back in because I do like my water. Guys, that's essentially the overview of our solar system for the grid tied part. I hope that helps you guys, and hopefully if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will try to respond to any questions that you have. But for the most part, like I said, this is an overview, but hopefully this gets you pointed in the right direction. And if you don't mind, If this video was helpful, do me a favor and think about hitting that thumbs up button, because other people can find it and it'll help them out too, okay? Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.